Welcome to Tales from the Trenches Tuesday. Today, it is my exceptional honor to have Deborah Rosati on with me.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, so Deborah is an award winning corporate director and entrepreneur and has been defined in three interconnected ways throughout her 35-year career as a corporate governance champion, catalyst for change, and community builder. As the founder and CEO of Women Get On Board, an 850 member social purpose company, Deborah is building a community, the next generation of women corporate directors, advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion, collaboration, courage, and confidence in the boardroom. Fueled by women holding only 26% of Toronto Stock Exchange listed company board seats, Women Get On Board amplifies the voices of women leaders, board members, and professionals across Canada through education, mentorship, and allyship. It's been called the power of three. One woman in the boardroom is a token, two is a presence, and three is a voice. Never satisfied with the status quo, Deborah always seeks ways to challenge expectations and drive change. She brings an environmental, social, and governance lens to every board she serves on, as she believes in the power and responsibility of business to change our world for the better. Furthermore, Deborah was recently awarded an honorary doctorate of laws from Brock University just about a month ago. And Deborah's social purpose is to get more women on boards, one woman and one board at a time. So welcome, Deborah.
Thank you, Jack. Wow, that's me.
That is you. You are an unbelievable superstar and have been since the moment I met you. It's unbelievable. So, just a little bit of context for our listeners here. I had the honor of working alongside you some 20 years ago for a capital campaign at a local hospital. And what impressed me most about you is what Tim Sanders calls in his book, Love is the Killer App. You're a true love cat. It's kind of a hippy dippy term. But, anyways, what he means is that it's sharing your intangibles to help others achieve success. So specifically, it's sharing your knowledge, your compassion, and your network. And you shared all your contacts with us, and your excitement was infectious. So going back those 20 years, or even more recently, what is the best canvas you were on, and why was it the best canvas?
Well, Jack, it is over 2 decades ago when we connected. I have to say, I learned from the best, i.e., you and your colleagues at the Ottawa Hospital.
Thank you.
And I would say my best canvas, and I guess you can look at it two ways. One, me canvassing or others canvassing me. And I will recall this moment was Rob Ash, who was the former president CEO of Cognos before they were sold to IBM. He was my first boss when I left public accounting and I went to Cognos. And he was such an inspiration to me, and he really sort of drove you hard to work hard. And as years passed, I went on and did my own thing in the tech sector, and I ended up seeing him at an event, and he just came over to me. And for somebody who was so accomplished, he said to me, congratulations, you've done so well in your career. And I was just kind of shocked by this, me,
Right.
but let's look at you. And it was this, I felt really good because here's somebody I probably worked with like 15 years ago, give or take. And he was honoring me for my successes. And unbeknownst to me, he started recruiting me to get involved with the Ottawa Hospital. How can you say no to Rob Ash?
Exactly.
So it was one of those things that I was connected to somebody. So I think on canvassing, there has to be a connection. And it was a really respectful connection. I respected him. He respected me. He was doing great work for the Ottawa Hospital at the time. And he got me intrigued. And I think that was my door opener to meeting you, Jack, was
Hmm.
through Rob Ash. And I didn't even know what I got into. There was these amazing people, but at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to what is the cause. And it was really about building a great community hospital so that your loved ones didn't have to go anywhere else but your own community. And so I learned you had amazing colleagues. And I think that canvas for me of being on the other side of it, I didn't even think that I was being canvassed.
Wow. Wow. It's unbelievable. And I think that a lot of times, as a professional, one of the things I do is I rarely ask for money. You just have a discussion and it will just come about naturally. Someone will say to you, "Hey, so what do you need to be able to do A, B, and C?" And so it kind of flows quite naturally. But as a canvasser, what was the best canvas that you kind of were on? And I know that you've also been involved with Brock University as of late.
Best canvas that so put myself in as a volunteer,
Hmm.
fundraising for a cause or something I believe in. Oh, that's the best one that I've been on the other side. That's it's got me because I think one of the best canvas advice that I got from you specifically, if
Right?
I could, and I took it into any of the canvassing that I did. So it was best advice was look, you're not fundraising for yourself. You're fundraising for a bigger cause. And when I got my mindset around that, because in my past life, I was always fundraising for technology companies, so on the private company side. So I was always pitching for money.
Right.
So this, I never thought of it as pitching for money, but it was, you weren't asking for yourself. And I think when you take that and know that it's bigger than yourself and you're making an impact and making a difference. So as a canvasser
Right.
going out and, but I knew I had a team behind me, so I never had to have the awkward moment. It was my infectious energy that
Right.
brought others to the table. But I feel like I think for me, one of the pivotal was really connecting to community and making them aware of the work that was going on at the Ottawa Hospital. And I never had to ask for dollars either. I
Right.
would bring them in, and if they could see the value and understand, remember we used to do the hospital tours, right? And
Sure.
through so I think I don't have any one particular moment, but I
Right.
do have the experience and the tips of, when you're canvassing, first of all, you have to get behind it. You have to believe in it yourself. And
Hmm.
never would I ask someone for something if I didn't do it myself. So I'd always
Right.
make sure that, there's the saying when you're on an airplane is put your own oxygen mask on first
Right.
before someone else. So if you are a fundraiser and you're canvassing, it's really hard for you to say I believe in it, but you're not making your own not only your time commitment but your financial commitment. So to me those are really fundamental principles for me.
Agreed. Agreed. It's like the stockbroker who says go buy stock in ABC, and you ask them, "Are you doing it?" No, but you should. The warning bells go off, right? So let's flip it for a second and let's think and see if you have a case of the worst canvas or one that just went kind of off the rails.
Oh yes. um, I hate to put it back to my alma mater, which is Brock University, but um, for some reason I'm not sure why and how, but after I had a very successful exit from a technology company in uh, in Ottawa, I started getting reach outs, right? And there wasn't necessarily the connection. And so I ended up having lunch with the president of Brock one day. And I was still living in Ottawa, but I think I was down visiting my family over the summer and during the summer and had lunch with the president. And next thing, the discussion accelerated to that they would be, naming a building after me would be really great. And I just kind of went, whoa, let's back up.
Right.
Did you check my net worth? Did you see if I was interested? And I look back on it and I think that there was an expectation that somebody had made. And I was going there to meet, which was great. I was
Right.
going back to reconnect to my alma mater. But the question of, well, we can, talk about a building being named after you was really not in furthest from my consideration. And so when I think of worst canvassing or can't being canvassed, it was such a disconnect.
Yeah, yeah. And so many times the pressure is out there just, from the organization to go raise the money that they kind of are a little bit preemptive in their ask. And they haven't done their due diligence. It hasn't been a discussion as to what interests you. And, you may be someone who, last thing in the world is you want a name on something. And there's people like that. So, if you have those discussions, it resonates and you find out what's important to the prospect and what isn't important to the prospect. But it's like proposing marriage on the first date, right? It's just not
Yeah.
done.
So I would say, Jack, so that one, however, got me reconnected back on campus.
Yeah.
2 decades later, honorary doctorate. I have been very connected and created opportunities within the university where I, as the donor, was able to say, this is really important. So, case in point, I created a Deborah Rosati Entrepreneurship Fund. And that funded 10 students over the course of 5 years, two per year, where co-op programs were really focused around work terms and working for an employer, but I was really trying to create that next generation of entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
So it was they had to pitch, and they had the administration infrastructure through Brock to determine the winners.
Right.
But these students were entrepreneurs, and they got
Wow.
to, for 4 months, do research and take their entrepreneurial efforts to the next level. So to me, that was important. And I kind of created it. No one had ever done it before. It was like, what about this? What about this? And then they really pulled that together. So I use that as an example of really understanding what the donor wanted and what was meaningful. And like I said, so I didn't go away from Brock saying, never, ever, how dare they do it? It was, okay, I have capacity in some way, somehow, and that capacity will find its way. And then more recently, last year, I launched the Deborah E. Rosati Women in Leadership Program, which is a mentorship program.
Hmm.
And that's a 5 year commit too. So
Wow.
um, that was near and dear to me, and working with the same stewards and donor relations group, development group at Brock, and really understanding my needs. Not, hey, this is what so what do you need? What are you comfortable with? How can we create this? And so kind of white spacing, but still with my own alma mater.
Well, Deborah, if folks wanted to get hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Deborah Rosati on LinkedIn.
Ah, there you go. There you go. And your women get on board is always, you're always promoting something, and someone who's just been
Oh,
posted.
follow us. Follow
Yeah.
us on Women Get on Board. Follow Deborah Rosati. Yeah, I'm out there. I love engaging. I love encouraging. I love elevating that next generation of, be it women leaders, business leaders, entrepreneurs. It's all about creating that next generation.
Deborah, it's so amazing to catch up again with you. I miss our talks, even though you're only, I don't know, 5 or 6 hour drive away. But I remember fondly years ago we used to be right in step as we went through the list of folks that you had brought to the organization. I thank you for your continued support and enthusiasm. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Jack, for your time. And also, I learn from you each time we have a conversation. I want you to know.
Well, thank you. Hi, folks. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right here.